In this video, we're going to look at solving systems with matrices. Now, notice that this system isn't like some of the ones that have three. I already have some videos that have three equations. This just has two. However, we do run into an issue because notice that we don't have it set up the way that it's given a lot of the time when we're asked to solve a matrice. In other words, we want to make sure that we have all of our variables on the left and all of our constant values on the right, and make sure that they're in the same order. And what I mean by same order is, notice this has a y first and this has an x. You don't want to mix up the different coefficients for the letters because we have to keep them in order. We want all the y's in one row, all the x's in one row, and all our constant values in another. So before we can try to solve this using a matrix with our TI-84 calculator, we want to go ahead and want to move some terms around. So I'm going to start by moving this first one. Notice up here, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. So we have 3y equals 12 minus 2x. So if I want to go ahead and put this into a matrix, I want to go ahead and move that x over to the left. And then it becomes, and let's see, 3y plus 2x, because we can't combine these, right? Because they have different variables. And these cancel on the right, and we're left with 12. So it's almost how we need it, but notice I'm going to be combining it with this equation that's down here at the bottom, and so I want to go ahead and put the x term first. And remember that each one of these just represents a term, and we can rearrange terms that are on the same side in any order. So I'm going to put the 2x first. So underneath this, I'm going to write 2x, and then I'm going to put the 3y next. So it's a positive 3y, so I put plus 3y. And my constant, which is 12, all by itself on the right, I'm going to put it directly underneath it. I am going to draw a line in this top equation here because we've taken this and we rearranged it. And then we wrote it in the order that in which it allows the x's to line up, the y's to line up, and our constants to line up. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the matrix in my calculator and set up something that has 2 rows and 3 columns. So let's go ahead and do that right quick. So I'm going to pull this up. Actually, I'm going to put it on the right hand side because there's a little bit of glare there. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, if you want to get your matrix pulled up right, you want to hit second and you want to hit this x to the negative 1. Because notice on top of it, it says matrix in blue. So when you hit that second button, it lets you use that blue function. So I'm going to hit that x to the negative 1. It gives me a matrix here. I do want to go ahead and edit my matrix. So I'm going to click to the right, hit enter. Notice we already have some values in there. I'm going to go ahead and delete those out real quick by just writing over them. So we have, notice for our x values, we have 3 and 2. So I'm going to put 3 and 2. And then for my y values, I have 3 and 3. So 3 and 3. And then for my constant values, I have 18 and 12. So I'm going to put 18 and 12. So what I want you to notice, if we were to write this out here, I know some of the teachers want you to write what type of matrix is it, like your rows and columns. So you can just simply put 2 times 3, right? Because that's what we did. We had 2 rows and we had 3 columns. And then if I were to write it out, I would write it out much like this right here. We have 3 and 2, and then we have 3 and 3, 3 and 3. And the dashed line just means it's going to be my equal sign, and then we have 18 and 12. So notice we have 2 rows, 1, 2, and 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. And that's exactly how I put it in my calculator. So now that we have this in our calculator, and you see how you would write it out to show your teacher your work, I'm going to go ahead and hit second and mode to get out of there. The next thing I want to do is I want to hit second and matrix again. And then I want to go ahead and go to math. And I'm going to select the one which is option B that says RF. Hit enter, it pulls it down. I then want to hit second and matrix again, and I'm going to go ahead and now select A to put it in there, close parenthesis, and hit enter. And here are my answers. So notice it says 1, 0, and 6. and 0, 1, and 0. So I'm just going to write that answer down real quick. We have 1, 0, and 6, and 0, 1, and 0. Alright, so now that we got this answer written down, notice it's right over here. My answers for this are these last two values here. In other words, 6 is my x value, and 0 is my y value. So my solution to this system is going to be 6 for x and 0 for y. And we're done with this problem. Now I'm going to work out one more problem in this video because I realized that I did not have a video for infinite solutions. So we had one for no solution. We have one for a matrix where you're going to have to go ahead and enter 3 equations where you have to rearrange some terms to be able to enter it. And now let's look at a situation where we have what we call all real numbers or infinite solutions, because you know what no solution looks like according to the bottom row that's on the matrix. But let's see what it looks like when we have infinite solutions. So once again, we are going to have to rearrange some things. I'm going to go ahead, notice the bottom equation is already in good order, and so I'm going to rearrange this top one to match the bottom one. So we have 2y equals 4x minus 4. Now I do want to move the x over to the left, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. That cancels, and we're simply left with 2y. Right, I'm going to put the minus 4x in front of minus 4x. That's a positive 2y is equal to negative 4. So now I'm just going to rewrite this over here directly under my existing equation. And I'm going to cross out that 1 on the top, so I'm not tempted to add those numbers in. So we have negative 4x, and then we have plus 2y is equal to negative 4. So let's go ahead and create us a matrix for this. So notice that this is going to be another 2 by 3. So I'm going to go ahead, make this one a little smaller. And so we have negative 8 and negative 4. So negative 8 and negative 4. That's for my x values. And then for my y values, I have 4 and 2. And then for the constant values, we have negative 8 and negative 4. So I'm going to go ahead and type this into my calculator right quick. So I'm going to move this over. Let's bring the calculator over here and go ahead and get it put in. So I'm going to go ahead, turn it on, and we're going to hit second and matrix. I am going to just go to the existing matrix. It's the same size, and I'm just going to rewrite the information in there. So first column, notice we have negative 8 and negative 4. So negative 8 and negative 4. Second column, I have 4 and 2. So I'll put a 4 and a 2. And in the last column, we have negative 8 and negative 4. I'll then hit second in mode to quit. I'm going to go ahead and hit second in matrix, go to math, go up to RF, and then go ahead and pull up my matrix again and put A in there because we're going to use A a second time. I'll hit enter, and now I have a different answer. Now notice, I want you to notice how it looks different here on the bottom. I want you to notice in the previous one, notice we had 1 0 and 0 1, and this is very similar to even when we had the 3 row 3 column. But notice on this one, like previously when we had the no solution, instead of this saying 0 1, it says 0 0 to let you know that there's a special situation going on. So let me go ahead and write this answer so we can talk about it. So we have 1, negative 0.5, and then 0 0, and 1 and 0 in the end. Now I do want to pull up the old notes just to show you. When we had no solution, remember I had a note on here, and I put any value other than 0 in the bottom row means no solution. So in other words, we had these all zeros on the left, and on the far right we had a 1. And because of that 1 and all these zeros on the left, we know that there is no solution. But I want you to notice on this one here, when we look at the answer, it does have the zeros on the left, which would make you think, right, this is either a no solution or infinite solution situation. However, on the bottom right, it doesn't have a 1 down there. It has a 0. So since the bottom is a row all full of zeros, instead of it being no solution like this one, where we had all zeros and a 1, it's going to be an infinite solutions because we have zeros all the way across. So just know that when you put in these equations, right, into the matrix, if you end up with zeros all the way across, that is going to be an infinite solution situation, or what we also call all real numbers.